Good evening, all. Welcome to another episode of OmenGs Stupid Scary Stories. Sorry I'm eating while I'm doing this, but I'm fucking starving. I've been working my ass off around the house all week. Pretty much from the time I get up till the time past dinner. Today is one of those rare occasions where I'm actually done with all that I'm going to do for today. Now, earlier this week, I believe it was earlier this week or late last week, I put in a new sink with new faucets and a new LED mirror. Now, I'm not a plumber, but we did have a plumber do work when we first moved here. And he did work in the areas that I ended up having trouble with. Now, I know this much. Connecting a faucet to a fucking sink and hooking it up to supply lines when you're doing it properly shouldn't lead to some fucking leak that ends up fucking up a ceiling that you just finished doing. Now, like I said, I'm no plumber, but if I was a plumber and I had done work in those areas and I knew that this person planned on doing their own bathroom renovations, I would have told them, hey, look, while I'm in here, I'll go ahead and fix these two issues. You know, take care of them for you. Won't be free, but at least you don't have to worry about this shit later on down the line. That's what I would have said. It's not what he said. I believe he was under the assumption that when we decided to do stuff with the bathroom, that he would be the person that we called. And he probably figured I'll just take care of it then. Well, needless to say, when I did a simple thing such as hook up faucets, I ended up with this really fucking bad leak. Not only from the cold water supply line, but from the damn drain. Now, mind you, and here's where I'm a little pissed off at. Coming from the sink, going into the floor, is PVC. Then there's an old, and when I say old, I mean extremely old, metal J-joint. And then more PVC. Now, I don't know if anybody else is thinking what I'm thinking, but wouldn't it have just made sense while you were in there fucking around with all these pipes to replace the old ass J-joint with a PVC one while you're there? I mean, it takes 2 seconds to fucking do. Right? They're not that expensive. Maybe $10, if that. Probably not. So I had to go and change that shit. Then on top of it, on the cold water supply line, the issue was because the supply lines that go to the faucet are a little thinner by about maybe 1/4 of an inch than the ones coming up from the floor, which were 1/2 inch, I'm going to assume that the amount of pressure was a little bit greater because this faucet shoots water like it's nobody's fucking business. Like you could spray mud off of a fucking car with the pressure that comes out of this faucet. It's a nice faucet. It's a very nice faucet. But that's not the point. The point is, this stainless steel to copper connection wasn't threaded, wasn't sealed. It was just pushed on. So with the increase of pressure, it increased the leak that was non-existent up until that point. Now, of course, me not being a plumber, I didn't know anything about what was going on at first. It took me a whole entire day, one day, and I mean the entire day, from 9 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock at night, thinking that I had it fixed. Use some metal epoxy, yada yada yada, blah blah blah. Next day, still leaking. Now it's getting worse because I've plugged up some areas of it, but now it's shooting out at obviously the point of least resistance. Now you're probably wondering why I'm telling you this story instead of a scary story. I'll get to it. Don't worry, I promise you. Let me finish this so you can understand the frustration, stress, and anger that I've had to be putting up with just from myself alone. I haven't even gotten to the wife yet. Now, mind you, she's a little frustrated, but she's keeping herself under control. At first, right? You know, the sink was put in, the mirrors hung, everything looks good. You know, then we go downstairs that day and then there's the water leaking. Now, I've already explained to you why all this water is leaking. Spend a whole day thinking that I've got it taken care of. Now, here's the other thing, right? The drain pipe is so haphazardly placed that just knocking the fucking sink hard enough when it was first put in, because I had to cut the baseboard out and push it so that it was flush with the wall. So there was a little bit of space for the first day. So if you bumped into it, you'd shift the drain pipe, which has about a good inch of play, which is too much. Where's the fucking clamp? Huh? So obviously, if you knock this drain pipe, it knocks the J out of the pipe that runs into the drain. Now, hear this. Drains use gravity, obviously, for them to work. Water goes down a drain. If it's coming up, you usually have a backed up system. Water should not come up your fucking drain pipe. Right? Of course it shouldn't. Now, me not being a plumber, I'm finding all this stuff really strange because common sense, common knowledge of how water and plumbing works tells me that something is not right with this drain. Huh. And guess what I find out? The angle of the pipe that runs to the pipe that goes straight down the wall is angled towards the center of the room. Ah, you say, well, what does that matter? If you flush or wash water down it, it'll go. Yes, if enough water is going down it. But what it also means is because it's at an angle going this way instead of that way, the water collects in the J, which is loose and haphazardly stuck there. Well, was. Because it's a metal one connected to PVC with stuff you're not supposed to connect metal to PVC with. There's special compounds and things, yes, I've learned all this shit in the past couple of days, that you use when you want to bond metal to plastic. Although they do suggest that it's a lot cheaper and easier just to replace the fucking metal goddamn J-joint. Which the plumber was aware of when he was up in the ceiling changing all the other old pipes. So a day goes by, shit's okay for a day. Then the pressure finally builds and that pipe, that stainless steel, just slid onto a piece of copper, and it's not even the right size. I believe the stainless steel pipe is just over a half an inch. So whatever stainless steel pipes were made in their, sizes. So it's not staying, and it won't stay. So I'm thinking, oh, well, I think I found the problem, right? Okay, bam. Get my hammer, and I get a wrench, and I hold it, and I bang this motherfucker on there to the point where it can't go anymore, right? So I'm thinking, shit, it took me all that energy to bang this on there. That's gotta fix it. Wrapped it with a little fucking vinyl tape, and bam! Excuse me. Everything is good. So I thought. Of course, like I said, the pressure worked it and finally opened that shit right back up. Wake up, go to the store, come back, water's dripping out of my fucking ceiling again. Now at this point, the wife's a little fucking peeved because we went out to go pick up some stuff and I got stuff that should have fixed it if it was a normal, regular situation, meaning it didn't need to be completely replaced. It could have just been fixed, but there was no fixing it. And I didn't realize that because, once again, I'm not a plumber. Now, this job that I just did would have cost somebody easy $200 to $300. Now, it probably would have been done in less time. But once again, I'm not a plumber. I just know some stuff about plumbing. I can put in sinks, I can put in toilets, I can change lines and shit like that. As far as actually doing the entire house, no, I'm not even going to pretend that I would be able to do that. I probably could, but to say it right now, oh, I could definitely do that, no, I can't. I can change pipes above and not in walls. But I had to go in the wall. I cut myself like 15 fucking times on the nails and screws and shit sticking through the ceiling because I didn't want to tear the whole fucking ceiling down again. I could see that the leak was isolated to one particular part, which was between my kids' room and the bathroom, right in the wall there. So, went out yesterday, and while we were out, I decided I'm just gonna pick up the necessary parts to replace that section of plumbing. I'll get a nice shark bite joint with a 1/2 inch snap to a male 1/2 inch thread. Then I will take the bolt that goes from the supply line, connect that to the 3/8 inch so that it goes to a 1/2 inch. Then I'll connect that supply line to this piece of pipe. But it was too short. So what I had to do was cut a piece of 1/2 inch PVC, connect that to a shark bite fitting, connect that fitting to the copper pipe, bam, bam, that's all set and good. Boom, done, happy, right? I'm feeling accomplished at this point. Because I know all I have to do is put the other one on and then screw the water line in, right? That's what I'm thinking. This is last night. So I do that, right? Now, because I'm frustrated and just like rushing, because I know my wife is fucking ready to explode about this shit. I know she is. I had to turn the water off and shit, yada yada yada. The ceiling is messed up after it took me like a month to do this whole fucking ceiling. Now it's messed up again. I have to do not the whole entire ceiling, but I have to do it again. So she's not happy. she's extremely particular. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it's not fucking perfect, then she's just not happy. And when she's not happy, she's really not happy. And if she doesn't say anything about it immediately, when she finally does say something about it, it's like a volcanic eruption. Bam! You're going to get hit with a lot of shit, lava, and it's going to be hot, and you're not going to like it, but there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. You can't argue, you can't reason, you can't say what you said, even though you did say that this was going to be the case if this didn't work, but you can't say that, not at that time, because at this point in time, she cares not. All she knows is, there's a leak, it's not fixed, you said you were going to fix it, and it's not fixed. Everything else means nothing. Nothing. So last night, right, I'm sitting here putting this thing on. Brand new parts, right? And once again, it's fucking leaking. Not as bad as before, but it was leaking nonetheless. Now the drain, I got that situated pretty quickly. Bam, 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 done, fixed the drain. That was done. Wasn't worried about that. I was worried about the supply line because that's where water's constantly running, and that would be where it was constantly leaking. And, luckily, since it's in the floor and I didn't have it open up the ceiling, I could put like a little sherbet container right up under the little pipe and catch the water and then have to dump it like every fucking hour. And I'm like, this is not gonna work. I was up till 4 o'clock the morning before. I was up last night till about maybe 2 or 3, right? Woke up this morning. Well, let me finish what I was doing with it. So I'm like, reading all this stuff, because I'm like, okay, they're connected. Why is it still leaking? Did I over tighten it? So I loosen a little bit. That makes it get worse, so I tighten it back up. Okay, it's still leaking. Like, this is ridiculous. I read the instructions on the faucet just to make sure I didn't do something wrong. Now, it says you don't need Teflon tape for this threaded connection. Why? Because there's gaskets inside the nut. So, this morning, after last night didn't work the way I wanted to, and wife woke up early as fuck. Now I know when she's up before me, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad. Heard her downstairs cooking and shit. Heard her say, "Oh, this fucking shit." I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna catch it today. Watch. This plumbing better be fixed." So I wake up. She's like, "Can you turn on the water?" I'm like, "Yeah, I should be able to turn on the water. Everything should be fine, right?" So I go check what I sealed, because I did seal it with a little bit of silicone and shit just to make sure it stopped, which it didn't stop. Turn it on. It's worse now. Now it's almost as bad as the leak previous. And these are brand new parts. So now I'm like really defeated. I'm frustrated. I'm angry. She's talking about I could just call the plumber, and I'm thinking to myself, yeah, and you would have paid like $300 for them to do some shit. It takes 15 minutes, and yes, it should just took me 15 minutes. But once again, I'm not a plumber. Just a guy who knows a little bit about plumbing. So I find the other nut, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, okay, there's a gasket in there, right? Yes, there's a gasket. And then I start thinking to myself, was there a gasket on the one that I put on? And I'm thinking, I don't remember seeing a gasket. Now, of course, this does not make me feel good at all. You want to know why? Because it was a simple fucking thing. A very simple fucking thing. A very simple thing. And I'm sitting here looking at all this complex shit, and it was, oh, the gasket's fucking missing. So after I fixed the floor, because I was working on the floor, I decided, I'm just going to shut the water off, change this. This should work, because here's the gasket. The gasket's in this one. Why wasn't it in the other one? I don't know. Faulty part. They fucking forgot to put the fucking gasket in. So anyway, make a long story short, put the piece on, turn on the motherfucking water, and shazam, no more fucking leaks. Everything is good. Nice and dry. But before that happened, I caught the Krakatoa volcanic eruption. Got leveled. Leveled. Completely leveled. I felt like this fucking big. Because no matter what I said, I was wrong. And that sucks. Now, once again, I know what you're thinking. This is not a stupid, scary story. This is real life shit. You're just venting. Why are you doing that? Well, I'm going to tell you why. What made it so bad is the water, right? Took form of like little miniature people, but they were water. And they were splashing about, you know what I'm saying? Talking shit to me. It just let me have it the whole fucking time. You just got yelled at. You thought you fixed it. You thought you fixed it. And I go to step on them, but you know, it's water, so they just sploosh and then come right back. And they're dancing around laughing at me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm mad. Soaking them up with like top, you know, fucking Bounty and shit, fucking Brawny, Sparkle, whatever, you know, towel paper towel, you know, soaking them up. But then they would just squeeze themselves out of it and drop down, start laughing again. You know what I'm saying? I felt this small. And I wasn't even shrunk. I didn't even shrink myself. I should have shrunk myself, but I didn't shrink myself. I sat there and took it, unfortunately. Oh, did I get the business? I got the business. And then I got these little motherfuckers giving me the business after I've already gotten the business. I don't need more business. I need less business. You know what I'm saying? So me and this one particular little water monster, that's what I'm going to call it, a water monster. I don't know what you call them, sprites maybe. I don't know. Fuck it. A little water monster. Get into a fight. I'm mad because I'm sick and tired of him laughing at me and shit. So I go to stomp on him. He doesn't want to get stomped. So I say, you know what? Fuck this. I run down here to my fucking little thing after I fixed everything. Got everything fixed. Now I'm going to fix the fucking ceiling, which takes a little bit of time because I have to fucking, you know, do some shit, some joint compound, reseal the seals where the tape came back, make sure that the fucking sheetrock is dry enough to do so, spray it so it doesn't cause any fucking mold. You know what I'm saying? It's a process. And I got these little motherfucking water monsters laughing at me the whole fucking time. Now it's bad enough. I'm already frustrated. Just took a volcanic eruption to the fucking face, so it's not like I feel all that great. You know what I'm saying? I'm not feeling good at all. I feel defeated, frustrated, and broken. Bow, all at once. And here these little motherfuckers are, fucking poking fun at me and shit. So after I finished everything and made sure everything was properly done this time, checked to make sure there was absolutely no water anywhere that there wasn't supposed to be water except for these little water monsters running around and shit. And there was none, so I was happy. But you can't tell that because I don't feel happy. I don't feel happy at all. Once again, had the person who we paid, and I paid this motherfucker $1,500 fucking dollars to do this fucking job, and I still had to fucking fix shit that he should have fucking fixed for the fucking $1,500 fucking dollars that he fucking got when he fucking first fucking came here. And now I look like a fucking idiot. You know what I'm saying? Little fucking water monsters in my goddamn face talking shit. So I went down here and I shrunk myself. Then I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck am I gonna do against little water monsters? They could drown me now. Just jump on me, splush a whole bunch of them, and just drown me out. So I got some scuba equipment because, you know, I have all the shit that I need all the time when I need it. Like I told you before, don't get caught in details, people. Please, don't get caught up in details. And yes, the first part of this story is really true. Little water monsters is true as well. It's true as well. They were little water monsters talking shit. And I shrunk myself, got my scuba gear, and made sure, and, you know, they're looking at me like I'm fucking dumb because you're like, you know, you're not even underwater, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, no, I'm not underwater because you guys are water, and I know that you might do some shit like splash on me and try to drown me and shit, so I'm not taking any motherfucking chances. And how do you plan to beat us? I hadn't thought about that. Like, how am I going to beat water? Like, if I step on it and just splashes and comes back, what am I going to do to it, right? Like, how am I going to stop it? And I thought to myself, I know how I stop it. Dirt, right? Yeah. You're thinking, what's the dirt supposed to do? I'm going to tell you what it's going to do, right? If I just put enough dirt in their little splashy bodies, they'll turn into mud. They'll be little mud creatures. Now, I'd rather deal with little mud creatures than water creatures because mud doesn't leak. Mud is dirty, but if I step on it, it's smashed. And you're probably thinking, well, if you smash the mud, then the water will come out of it. No. I put a little bit of cement in the dirt. So when they hardened up, they hardened up. Nice and hard. Chemical reaction, look it up. Water and concrete and shit. Obviously, if concrete dries, the water is gone, right? Of course. Or else you'd have water-filled concrete. It wouldn't make any sense, or it would always be wet. So, yeah, concrete in the dirt is what I did to get rid of these little fucking water monsters that were talking shit to me, and I was having enough of it. I was mad as hell. Mad. Because they knew. They're water. They've been in these pipes for fucking years. They knew that motherfucker didn't do the fucking shit right. They were just waiting for their opportunity. They were just waiting for it. Terrorize me once again. Ha ha! You know what I'm saying? It's like you're sitting down trying to watch something on television, right? You're trying to watch something on television. And all of a sudden you hear drip, 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 drip. You know your faucets don't drip. Why? Because you just put them in. They're brand new faucets, so they don't drip. You assume you fixed the leak. So where is this drip? You get up, you go to the sound, and you see, jumping from your ceiling, these little water monsters hitting the bucket. Bloop, 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 and then hopping out onto the floor, making a mess. Wetting up everything. Slipped and fell. It's a vinyl floor, so it got a little slippery. I slipped. Hit my back. Hurt it. Of course, like I told you, these little motherfuckers were just laughing. They're always laughing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been to water and oceans and shit, and it doesn't laugh. It usually is kind of cool. Like, hey, how you doing? Ride the wave. But water in your house is not like water outside. It's not like water outside at all. It's mean. I mean, I guess I'd be kind of mean too if, like, I was trapped inside pipes and shit, and, like, the only time I was ever used was to wash things and be shat in. Yeah, I guess I can kind of understand the frustration of pipe water monsters. But that doesn't give them the right to treat me the way they did. It gives them no right. You know what I'm saying? It's not like when they get flushed or run through the drains that they can't return to some bigger pool, less confined space, and enjoy themselves. Besides, they're water. They can break down to little tiny drops. You'd be amazed at how much little drops can soak up some shit. I mean, little drops. These drops were like smaller than tears, but there were so many of them at once that, it did what it did. So I had like hundreds of these little water monsters running around and shit. I was getting mad, like I told you. Angry, frustrated, broken, yelled at, sad. It's a bunch of emotions. None of them happiness. None of them a feeling of accomplishment. None of that. It was straight up, even though I did fix it and it's done, I don't feel good about it. And it's all because these little fucking water monsters were laughing in my fucking face. So yeah, like I told you, dirt and cement, I started hardening these little fuckers up one at a time. They realized what I was doing, right? They realized it after about maybe 10 or 15 of them. So what they decided to do was start to like combine themselves into a bigger water creature. Now I'm still shrunk in my scuba suit. They are like the size of a small child. All of them came together. They start stepping on me and shit, trying to drown me. I'm swimming in their body with my scuba suit and shit like that, just swimming around, spreading this cement and dirt as I go. Now, I know I have to get out of them somehow before I end up stuck in this cement and dirt and I suffocate to death, which wouldn't be a good thing at all. Although I'm pretty sure at the current point in time, my wife would probably be extremely happy if some fucked up accident like that happened. Maybe not, but the way she exploded at me today, she probably would be like, that's what you get, you son of a bitch. Fuck you, non-fixing ass bastard. Talking about you can fix the plumbing and fucking take 2 or 3 days to fix a fucking leak. Took the original guy like a week and a half to 2 weeks to fix a few things. Now, of course, granted, he cut pipe out, but once again, I'm not a plumber. So I don't have all these tools that plumbers have on hand. I do now. Another thing happens with a pipe, I got the pipe cutter. Shapow! Cut that motherfucker right off. I know what fittings need to be used. I know exactly the size of all the pipes in the house. All of them. Now, I do. Because I had to fucking trace every goddamn fucking line to figure out, oh, wait a minute. You're fixing the sink. You realize there's no shutoff valves at the sink. You go out and you buy supply lines, but you don't buy the supply lines that have the fucking shutoff valves. Why? So imagine how annoying that must be when you have to go from the from the second floor to the first floor to the basement to shut the water off to the entire house just to fix that one thing, which obviously frustrated the wife. Now I'm stuck swimming around inside this large, child-sized fucking water monster, sprinkling, cement and dirt inside of him. First thing that hardens up was his leg, because he stepped on me, so I'm traveling upward, right? I'm laughing inside my scuba suit because I can't laugh out loud or I start sucking a whole bunch of fucking water, and I don't want to drown inside of a fucking water monster that I'm trying to harden with cement and dirt, right? So he realizes what's going on. But it's too late because I've already sprinkled it at least up to the head of the little body that it has. It starts to harden, and all of a sudden the head drops off, splashes on the ground. He turns back into a whole bunch of little ones. But ha ha, right? He was close to the drain. He didn't realize that. Fell into it. Ah! All of them swirling around, going down the drain. And I'm laughing my ass off because I'm like, that's where you belong. In the drain, or in the pipes, or in the sink, or tub, or shower, when we command. Not running around my fucking house and my walls and my ceiling, on the floor, doing what you want to do. That's not how it works, you sons of bitches. So, now who's fucking laughing now? Who's laughing now? I'm laughing now. Ha 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 ha. I take no joy in it, though. I take no joy. Because like I said, I already caught the fucking volcanic eruption to the fucking face. Pyroclastic flow. Burnt, sucked all the oxygen right out of my lungs. Couldn't say a word. All I could do was sit there and just take it. Like a slave, getting beat for trying to be free. Pow, pow, pow. Oh, I'm sorry. I won't let it happen again. That's how I felt. So yeah, that's why today's story is not as funny as it should be. Because I'm just not in a funny mood. I'm not. But I haven't done a story all week. And I don't want to be the type of person who says, yeah, I do a story at least once a week. And then I don't do one. And you're like, what the fuck is up with this guy? He's a fucking piece of shit for not fucking at least giving us a story. So here's a story with some truth to it. It's not fake. Well, none of them are really fake. I mean, I really do have a time machine and fucking a shrinking machine and all these things. I do have these things. You just can't see them because, like, my computer's only facing one way. I want to turn it and shit. Yeah, make a mess and mess up my desk. No. No, I'm not going to do that. So you just have to take my word for it. You know what I'm saying? Just take my word for it. I mean, why would I lie? How can I tell you such stories of things if I hadn't experienced them, right? Like, who would make up some shit like that? Or like half the shit that I've told you. Why, who would make that up? Who could? Who would? Why? How? Huh? What? No. Well, anyway, after beating the water and still not feeling as if I've accomplished a fucking thing, because like I told you, the explosion sucked all the life right out of me. Then when my own kids, you know, got caught not doing something he's supposed to do that I've told him he's supposed to do, and then he pretended because he already knew mom was mad at me that I never told him to do it. So that just made her even more mad. So I caught like the second eruption. So I'm kind of pissed off at him. I'm not gonna treat him any differently or be a dick. But I am gonna let him know that was a fucking dick move. Gene. It's a dick move. It's a dick move. Act like I don't tell y'all to do shit. Y'all don't listen to a fucking word I say. And see, you know what's gonna end up happening, right? What's gonna end up happening is I'm gonna have to start laying down the hands. That's what it's gonna be, you know. And I don't want to be that guy. I was already that guy with my first two children. I used to put hands on them. I didn't play around. You fucking don't listen, smack. You don't do what you say, pow! Belt ready, boom! Catch it. These two, on the other hand, have only maybe had their ass whooped 2 or 3 times in their entire life. One of them's 15, the other one's 12. So, I don't know about you. I don't know about you guys. See, I was born 77. I grew up in the 80s. I got my ass beat quite a few times, and most of the time I deserved it. 99%, maybe 99.991% of the time, I deserved it. I'm not gonna sit here and act like, oh, my parents just beat my ass and my grandmother and grandfather beat my ass because they were abusive. No, they weren't abusive at all. I was a fucking handful, armful, for a long time. They probably should have beat my ass more. You know, maybe things would have. But see, that's the thing is, my 2 youngest ones, they don't fear any consequence, right? You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, dad's just gonna say something later, and then he'll have a talk with us about he's not gonna do this and he's not gonna do that. And I won't do it, but it doesn't matter to them. You know what I'm saying? They don't care. They'll just do something else. It's like the Xbox broke. I don't know how it broke. Don't care. Now, I probably could fix it because I fixed it the first time, but I'm not fixing it. I don't give a fuck. You're not appreciative, you get no rewards. But after today's explosion, after today's volcanic eruption, and that stab in the back that hurt pretty bad, I've decided to change my way of doing things with them. Oh yeah. See, when they're not doing what the fuck they're supposed to do, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm gonna go get my belt. My braided leather belt. Where is my braided leather belt? Where are you? Are you in here somewhere? Thought I saw you. It's not. Anyway. Without warning or hesitation, smack is gonna be a fucking surprise. Just like today was for me. That's how it's gonna go from now on. No warnings. No talk. Because I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want to hear that shit again. I don't want to catch any more fucking volcanic eruptions because of anybody else. If I do something wrong, fine. By all means, I'll accept it. I don't have much of a fucking choice. But I have literally been working on this fucking house since I got here. And I love doing it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining. I love it. What I don't like is when I get a request to do something that I say can't really be done the way the person wants it done. But they're like, I don't want to do it the other way. Do it this way. I've watched videos. You do it like this. And I'm like, okay, fine. As if a video means that it's going to necessarily work in your situation. But hey, did what I was told. And got yelled at for it. Because it didn't come out the way they thought it was going to come out. And a lot of people don't realize that some of these fucking YouTube videos are faked. They're faked. They show you some shit on YouTube, and of course, they edit It's not like it's a live stream. Let me see somebody doing this shit on a fucking live stream. Then I'll believe it. But if I'm watching you and I know, oh, you can do this in a day. Yeah, if you have like help. Like I said, and I know I'm ranting, so forgive me, people, forgive me. But if you were to skim coat a wall, you do understand that that's a process. You gotta mix your mud. You gotta put on your mud. You have to wait for that mud to dry. Then you have to scrape the little lines out of it. And if necessary, you have to put on another whole coat of mud. Which then leads to what? Another fucking day for it to dry. Now, could I have gotten these walls straight as a fucking arrow? Yes. Could I have gotten these walls straight as an arrow in 2 days? No. Could I have gotten the wall straight as an arrow with only 2 buckets of joint compound? No. These walls are wobbly. It's an old ass house, very old house. Wobbly walls. It would have taken me at least 4 coats. You figure each coat is about maybe 1/8 of an inch thick. Let's say 1/8 to 1/4. Some of the waves are about 1 inch. Wavy, because it's an old plaster wall. Which means the first 2 coats that I did just brought most of the wall up to those points. Closer to them. So the waves weren't as deep, but they're still there. I knew they were going to be there. I showed the wall after I'd spent an entire day sanding all the shit. There's another thing. Yeah, you gotta sand the shit. Which is a fucking mess. God. Dust literally for days. Dust for days. Dust where there should not have been dust. And you have to understand, I blocked the area I was sanding with plastic and taped it off. But yet and all, this dust managed to get over the entire house. And I'm not talking about just a little bit of dust. I mean a lot of dust. One of these days, I'll take a picture of it because I put it all in a box because it was that much dust. In a small box. About that wide and about that high. Full of fucking joint compound dust. And that is a very fine dust. Gets in the air and it just lingers. You don't even realize that it's in the air because there's just so much of it. It just changes the entire color of everything. And then the next day when you wake up and it's no longer in the air and it's all over everything. I mean everything. My hot sauces, my hot sauce shelf, the windows, the fucking blinds, the tops of all the damn fucking doorways, the tops of the windowsills, in the windowsill, on the window. Had to open the window so I could get some air because my respirator clogged. I could not fucking breathe. Couldn't breathe. And I can't take the respirator off. So it's like either I struggle to breathe in the respirator or I'm going to breathe all this joint compound shit into my lungs where it's going to get wet and heavy. And then I'll end up with like fucking sheetrock lung. If that's a such thing. Which I'm sure it is if you're dumb enough to breathe this shit in. Fucking around my eyes is all white. I look like a reverse raccoon. Like seriously. It was fucking stupid as shit. It's just, what a fucking week this has been. What a week. What a week. God. And it's not over. It's not over. Tomorrow's Friday. I mean, I do have something nice to look forward to on Monday. I'm supposed to be going for a job interview. I hope I have a ride, because if not, I'll be walking 2 hours to get there, or catching a cab. More than likely. I'll be walking 2 hours to get there. Which, I don't give a fuck. It's a good job. They're paying extremely well, and the benefits are fucking phenomenal. So to me, it's worth the 2 hours walking to get there so that I can get the job. And it's full time. I have the potential to make like $1,000 a week just in regular hours. $1,000 a week. Who would say no to that? I'm not going to say no to that. And this is one job. It's not like when I was working 2 jobs and making like a little over $1,000 a week because I was working 2 jobs. This is one job. 40 hours. And there's overtime. Trust me. I'm going to be sucking, well, if I get the job. Let me not speak ahead of myself. Did that last time. Things didn't work out so well. It didn't work out so well. Yeah, I apologize, people, for venting. I mean, I did tell a story, so I guess technically, I fulfilled my end of the bargain. Am I going to call this one of my stupid, scary stories? Probably not. I'll call it something else with a story inside of it, but I'll post it anyway. But I had to get that off my chest. Hurt, defeated, broken. I've done so much this week, and I feel like I've done nothing at all because she's not happy about one thing. She's not looking at like the 20 things that I've done. Just one thing that didn't come out the way she wanted to when I did it the way she asked. I was like, yeah, this is gonna need like maybe 2 or 3 more coats. 2 or 3 more coats, yeah, 2 or 3. No, just do 1 more coat and that's it. I'm done. All right. I'm not gonna argue with you. I mean, personally, my suggestion in the beginning was to just knock the walls out and put up drywall. That would have fixed it. Or, at the very least, get the thinnest drywall you can and then just go over the existing walls with it. You know what I'm saying? Even that could work. Because then you could have glued it to the plaster with some hard as nails, hit it with maybe 2 or 3 screws. You don't have to go sick with it. You don't have to... Because, see, tearing out plaster means you have to tear out, and I don't know what they call them exactly, the little pieces of wood, tack strips, I guess, that go so that you can actually put the plaster up and it sits on something. You have to tear all those out so that you can actually get to the stud. It's a process, and that's going to take time, and it's going to cost a lot of money. Now, could I do it? Yeah, I know how to hang drywall. It's not that hard at all. It's pretty easy. But it's time consuming. And it's messy. Like anything. But I did what I was told. So from now on, my new approach to any project I'm asked to do is to find a website where professionals tell you exactly, and I'm not talking about YouTube. Not fuck YouTube entirely, but fuck those fake ass YouTubers that show you some shit and then show you some end result, and then you're supposed to believe that came out the way they said it came out with the materials and things that they use, and they're not live streaming. Fuck you if you're not live streaming the thing you're doing. I'll watch you do a 10-hour job if that's what it takes. Because when somebody sits down and watches a 15-minute fucking video and they see people do something from beginning to end in 15 fucking minutes, they automatically feel in their brain that this is going to be done in a small amount of time. And it's not going to be done in a short amount of time, especially when it's a person who just has experience with these things, but is not necessarily an expert at these things. Carpentry, yes, I know carpentry. Am I a carpenter? No. Plumbing, yes, I know plumbing. Am I a plumber? No. Electricity, do I know it? Yes. Am I an electrician? No. What I am? Pesticide technician. That is where I have a certified license, and I am legally allowed to do so because I've gone through the classes and taken the test, and I have knowledge of mixing chemicals and what chemicals to use and where and how to spray this and what you don't spray and blah 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 blah. Electrical I learned on my own through my father. Carpentry I learned from my grandfather. Plumbing I learned from watching my father, who is also not a plumber. He's just a really smart dude. Now, I was able to put in a new outlet in the bathroom, no problem. Rewire it, no problem. I can wire anything. I'm good at that shit. I should probably get my electrical license or whatever you call it, apprenticeship and shit. I probably should. I enjoy doing stuff like that. Seeing it work when it's done, most of the time, that makes me happy. But like I said, I just don't feel like I've accomplished everything that I did this entire past 2 weeks. Doesn't feel like I've done fuck all. Ugh. But enough of that. I don't mean to drag anybody down. So if you guys are like even still watching this, if you are, I'm sorry for like venting, but I had to get it out because I was feeling real down and depressed, and I haven't felt down and depressed in a while like I felt today. So thank you guys for allowing me to, get that off my chest. And I promise, as long as I don't get another explosion in my face, another volcanic eruption, that if maybe I tell another story tonight, or if I tell a story tomorrow, that it'll be way better than this. I promise that. I'll read from the book, or I'll just tell something that's actually funny and stupid and maybe scary. But until that time, folks, I want to thank you all for joining me. Thank you. Thank you. And have a good evening. Take care of yourselves. Don't stress too much. I know I just sat here and ranted about some shit. And I didn't really rant and yell and scream, but I did kind of rant. So I can't really tell you guys not to stress when I'm stressing. But you see what it did to me? You see what it did to me? So don't do it. It's not worth it. And since I no longer partake in like substances and fucking alcohol, I have to learn how to deal with these things in different ways, which has been quite an adventure in learning how to be more productive when it comes to stress. So I want to thank you all for joining me, and you guys have a great evening, and I hope to see you all, or you see me, tomorrow in much better spirits, hopefully.